Thanks, as always, for watching this recap from last week's coaching sessions. As you all know, you've been working with us on this. We're trying to develop our style for these updates, and I will acknowledge again that we can't include everything from the week, just a few of the highlights. And again, our goal really is to have these be shorter, easy to digest, quick to watch, while still delivering some real value for you. So, with that having been said, May is now behind us, May being National Physical Fitness Month, and Bill and I agreed that there really were two themes that emerged from our sessions this week. Theme number one, the never-ending need to plan your healthy behaviors in an environment that will lead you to practicing less healthy behaviors, with the accompanying weight gain when you don't have a plan. So plan is theme number one. We had some fun with this, showing yet again another example of unwanted calories that are thrust upon us. Remember this shared example from Linda, who's in our phase 2 classes. A gift of acknowledgement for hospital employees. Now, we're in a hospital now. The goal is to improve and protect health, presumably. So the question that we posed to all of our members is, what's in the box? Well, after many guesses that ranged from, well, let's just be honest, giving the hospital way too much credit, Rick suggested veggies and shakes, to the downright cynical, with one person among many of the cynical guesses, all donuts, just donuts. That's all that's in the box. Well, actually, I think you cynical folks may have been seeing things a bit more clearly, as we see here. Yes, lots of unplanned and unwanted calories. Welcome to today's food culture where there are simply no surprises. Given this, we need to chart our own course, so to speak, and it starts at the grocery store. This is our first line of defense. What do we put in our grocery cart? And we shared some wonderful, colorful grocery carts of health from program members. Again, this is where success starts. And, as you look at this slide, the only thing that really taints this slide, to be honest, is the rather shameless posturing by Carolyn here, who had to put 2 watermelons in her cart. Well, she gets an A for effort. She gets an A for healthy choices. But I do think those grades may be accompanied by a few curious glances from fellow shoppers. To which Carolyn, I'm sure, responds, "That's right, 2 watermelons, maybe 3 next time, deal with it." And then, once you're home from shopping, prepping your foods, as demonstrated so clearly here by Kathy's slide. And after prepping, then building healthy meals and snacks into and throughout your day. Our theme again, planning your healthy behaviors. Because if you don't, what have we been saying? You end up in a battle for your willpower, which essentially boils down to you battling with yourself, battling your own activated brain chemistry that wants the higher calorie food, but you don't want to eat the higher calorie food, but I want to eat it, but I know I shouldn't eat it, but look at it, it's just so good, but it's so bad calorie-wise. You get it, this internal tension. And the way out of this conflict, this internal chatter, if you will, is to make the next right choice and to do it sooner than you might think. But it's not just staying ahead of hunger per se. It's about also getting ahead of those beginning stages of food stress and food anxiety as they start to manifest, whether you're hungry or not. So, what's your version of the Mary S. early alarm strategy? How soon do you need to be planning in your next healthy choice so that you're not starting the ride up the craving curve? It's a question that we need to keep asking and keep answering throughout the day, every day. And this is a point that was really punctuated by Rita's comment in Bill's Phase 2 session, and I quote, "Given the high-calorie culture, I need a plan in advance of the attack." Really think about this. This is actually very clever what she's saying. Given that the saying usually is a plan of attack, she's obviously picking up on how this is really a battle that we're all in. And it's like we are being attacked by calories. I love it. I love that twist. So plan in advance for the attack, the impending attack. And with enough planning, maybe avoid it entirely. That is great stuff right there. Okay, now our second theme is an awesome one. It resonated with many of you who are either in phase one or have just come back to phase one from phase two for our pre-summer reset. And it relates to getting out of your comfort zones. If you're in phase two, check this out, as we only shared this slide in phase one. After a really strong first week back in phase one for many people, we shared this analysis, which summarized the findings of 11 different weight loss studies. This is the science, and this is the conclusion. The current evidence does not demonstrate that setting realistic or reasonable goals, in other words, more modest goals for yourself, leads to more favorable weight loss outcomes. In fact, it's the opposite. And the conclusion to this analysis, thus, our field may wish to reconsider the value of setting reasonable, realistic, or modest goals when dealing with weight loss. Essentially, many people who set modest goals consistently lost less weight, and that's across 11 different studies. And those who set higher, more aggressive goals lost more weight, period. So this was a very interesting conversation that we had in our phase one sessions. And here's what Frances shared with me by email as a follow-up to our coaching session Wednesday night. Rick, I found yesterday's coaching session very helpful, especially the part about setting grand goals. So I am committing to 7 days in the box this week. And she included a picture of her favorite shake recipe as well. Well done, Frances. Way to take the message from the coaching session and bring it into action. So just to reinforce again the point of this research, if you're settling for modest goals, you're likely to get modest results, very likely. But if you dig in and set the bar high for your weight loss, if you're in phase one, your numbers of days in the box, if you're in phase one, your numbers of days in the 1.5 box, if you're in phase two, your physical activity, your number of fruits and vegetables, anything that you set goals on, whatever it may be, when you aim high, you actually create an opportunity to rise to the occasion. So set your goals high. With modest goals, with reasonable goals, there is no occasion to rise to. And it can actually lead to you, all of us, giving ourselves a pass. It ultimately boils down to a very clever way that we all have at times of making ourselves feel better about putting in less work. And we all do this from time to time. There are no exceptions to this. So it's very helpful to recognize this fact, this tendency to, 70% is good enough. Recognize that and reassert our commitment to our weight and to our health by setting the bar high for ourselves. So the second theme here is, again, getting out of our comfort zones, challenging ourselves, challenging our limiting beliefs about what we're capable of. We all have glass ceilings, and part of this work is proactively trying to identify them and break through them. And speaking of this, here are several quotes from members across several different groups. And I'll just share these because they reinforce this point of getting out of our comfort zones. Margaret from Friday 8 a.m., her phase two group. The group spoke to the value of getting out of the comfort zone, and here was her observation. If I push for 1 day outside my comfort zone, that behavior can become a new routine. That right there, that's the brass ring. You push to try lots of different things to identify the things that work for you and that makes sense for you to continue to do. Here's another quote. Dr. Ed, an oncologist also from the Friday morning session, had this to say. It's important that we do hard things. We're not going to be satisfied with our weight unless we do hard things. I mean, isn't there truth in that? Because if you're making easy choices with your weight, it's almost always going to lead to more calories and less physical activity. That's just the way it works because of the environment that we live in. And then, in terms of the actual process of exploring our stretch zones, Sister Gail from the Wednesday night 6:30 Phase 2 group shared, this is what I'm practicing. Noticing what I'm noticing. Being more aware and seeing it more clearly when I'm doing the next right thing for my weight. And this really is the foundation of it all, isn't it? Greater awareness throughout the day, throughout the week, staying more aware about what we're doing and what we need to keep doing. Awareness. I love that. And finally, as we maneuver through the week with its inevitable ups and downs, We will end here on Gail T's comment. Gail's also in the Wednesday evening session. And by the way, just real quick, Gail may be our all-time champion of bringing healthy foods with you. Here she is going to work. The bag in the front is hot food and beverages to support her weight management. The bag on her left is cold food. The small bag in her hand holds a smoothie divvied up to 3 different servings. And of course, her morning coffee in her blue sippy cup. So here's her quote. Keep an eye on the goal, not on the problem, on the goal. This is what keeps it simple. Yes, Gail, keeping your eye on the goal and keeping it simple. I love both of those concepts because this work can get so complicated so quickly. So the simpler that we can make it, the better. All right, well, that's it. Again, could have shared a lot more, but those are the 2 themes that Bill identified from our discussions. Plan your healthy behaviors and keep pushing outside your comfort zone. We hope this recap of the week continues to be helpful. We'll continue to refine it, to shorten it, while still keeping its value. Thank you again for your time and watching.